land of complex questions and simple people. Over this intriguing little place, we cast the savage eye. Ireland has produced generations of people who are expected to purchase their own house, which now means that Ireland has one of the highest rates of home ownership in the world.
To get a house first, to get a house, they can be in debt up to here. It doesn't matter really, but as long as they have a house.
It gets ridiculous. The country's obsessed with having land, and it's a noose around people's neck to own their own property.
If you didn't own your own house, you were a societal failure.
Why are the Irish so obsessed with property? The crippling effects of status anxiety can be seen most clearly in the Irish by their obsession with home ownership.
It's a natural thing for everybody to want to own their own home or a little bit of land. And of course, obviously, the man with the small bit of land always wants a bigger bit.
People need to compartmentalise you in Irish society. And part of that compartment is your house. That really defines where you are and where that house is.
If you imagine where you live equates to what you wear, well, I live in a tailored suit. Some people live in ill-fitting tracksuits. And when we run out of pheasant, we shoot peasant. Paul! Open up your hole!
It's another imaginary belief that there was this ladder that climbed to the sky, that you ended up in a palace in Dalkey or something.
Well, that's middle class, you see. You see, let me explain to you. It's a class thing.
I have a house.
Oh, house do you do?
House are you?
How many houses do you house?
3 houses.
Oh, fuck you, or 5 houses.
House are you? House do you do? Fuck you, I've 11 houses.
Ooh, house.
Fuck the both of you. House. But, sorry, excuse me.
Great party.
House are you? Do you have a house?
No, I don't.
Yeah, because, no, I agree, it's an important aspect of the... Huh?
He doesn't have a house.
Irish obsession with property, money and status has not gone unnoticed outside of Ireland, illustrated by a controversial joke told by the German ambassador.
Bitte? If you don't mind, I would like to tell you a little schnuzzle. Recently, I was in the National Concert Hall in Dublin, and during the break, an announcer called for the owner of a 93 registered car. Of course, no one moved because of the shame attached to owning such an old car. For all I know, the car is still there. What? No! The Irish!
What do the Irish think the places they live in say about them?
Welcome home, you go-getter. I'm your beautiful house. You're a success. You deserve me. I'm a monument to your achievements. My grandeur reminds everyone, you're the man.
Ah, Jesus, here comes fucko. Hey, I'm your damp basement flat and you're embarrassed to bring people back to me. I wasn't even designed to be lived in, dude. You have to lower your head to go inside me. People who lower their heads are failures. You're a failure. You're a human statue of shite.
Like, having a nice house doesn't necessarily make you happy at all, you know.
We need a bigger car, we need a bigger house. I mean, all my acquaintances and friends, I said, look, you will pay dearly for it.
Well, we've been in this house for 15 years now, and you should have seen the state of it when we bought it. It was an absolute wreck. And it took us 6 years to make it into the beautiful home that it is now.
Do you know that?
And we'd like to fill it with things that are really special to us. Like, for example, we have this beautiful painting over here. It's a Gainsborough. And actually, Jerry bought it for me as an anniversary present. Didn't you, Jerry?
Yeah.
I just cried.
That is your fucking
surprise.
tragedy. You are becoming more
and then we have the view out here, and I just love to stand here sometimes and just look out the window. And we have 4 acres, and some of it's in forest.
Every fucking evening,
to walk out there with the dogs.
Fucking
And we're so near the city centre as well, which is
fucking ugly mouth of yours until you're totally rat-arsed and abusive.
We've been really, really happy here in this house, haven't we, Jerry?
Jesus Christ.
During the property boom, Ireland experienced a revolution in lifestyles and social behaviour. Some, however, were seen as unacceptable.
You what? How long?
It's been about 3 years.
With him?
Listen, this is what people do nowadays. It's normal. I don't know.
Normal? Normal? Is it something I've done wrong as a father?
It's nothing. It's not. Nothing to do with you.
John, what is it? What's wrong?
It's David. He's renting.
No. And when the property bubble came along, it was a fantastic opportunity to say, how could you rent? As if renting was somehow vulgar.
You're very welcome to the Uris. House ownership is an essential part of the Irish diaspora. Our first house was a bijou residence in Knocknaheeny. We had to leave because of noisy neighbours. My housebound, it has an extraordinary facility to remember the pivotal moments, and he will now recreate the sound, for instance, that made us leave the house.
For hundreds and hundreds of years, the British denied Ireland the chance of getting on the property ladder.
Penal laws meant that the Catholics couldn't have nothing. They couldn't have nothing.
Cromwell absolutely devastated this country and took over all the Irish land in about 1649 for the following 10 years under his Act of Settlement.
To the Irish, British rule meant being a tenant, which meant living with the fear of eviction and the humiliation of your family's survival being under constant threat.
Open up! Come on, you scum! Come on, get out! Leave us alone! Leave her, she's in the trail! Oh, you get close! I got first mate. Get out.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Who are you, the Irish Army?
I am the future president of Ireland, and I have come back in time to right the wrongs of the past. Leave this Irish family alone.
What are you going to do if I don't?
I'll pull the jawbone out of your head and use it as a paperweight.
Don't make me laugh. Come on.
The Irish used to make their dwellings out of potatoes and twigs. Some of them lived in bushes. Nowadays, the modern Irish has its own running water and traffic lights. Slow down, Paddy. Where are you off to?
I'm off to get a mortgage.
What will they think of next? Monkeys in the Houses of Parliament?
In 1995, Ireland became a Celtic tiger. Convincing itself that property was a byword for sound business. Finally, in 2008, Ireland woke up and realised it was no good at being a tiger, returning to more traditional ways of making money. But during the bubble, house prices rose dramatically, and it didn't take a genius to make a fortune in the market.
It was greed that has made this whole thing spiral out of control.
It wasn't just I want to own a property. I want to own a portfolio of properties. They wanted to buy 1 or 2 or 3.
It's based on fear and greed. Fear in the boom period of being left behind, missing the boat, not getting on the ladder, obviously. Greed in terms of wanting to buy something, not having to do any work.
We thought that this was something you could do on the side while you were, in the pub, in between going to the bookies and having a smoke. You could be a landlord. It's a job.
All of a sudden, this guy who used to work in McDonald's 10 weeks ago was now selling properties in Egypt, you know what I mean? And it was just ridiculous. I mean, would you have ever even considered in your life buying a property in Egypt?
I remember Egypt with fondness, a wonderful country full of triangles and naked crocodiles. My husband and I purchased an apartment in Cairo. It remembers the sights and sound with great fondness.
I've been living in Egypt for 5 years. I love it. The field's shy. Cairo's brilliant, except for the Nigerians.
It was often said in Ireland's boom times that it was easier to get a mortgage than a taxi.
They were calling them pulse mortgages. The reason being, it was a kind of nickname they gave it. If you had a pulse, they'd give it to you.
It was totally unsustainable. The prices got too high. They had to borrow massive amounts of money on the shoulders of people, young people, who couldn't afford to repay mortgages at those levels.
They gave a guy 86 years of age a 30-year mortgage. How do you figure that's going to work out?
And I don't want you to worry because we have mortgages to fit everyone. So the house you want to buy is selling for 400k.
Yes.
And what are your earnings at the moment?
At the moment, nothing.
Okay, don't worry. Do you have any savings or property to offer up as collateral?
No, sorry.
That's fine. Is there anyone who could act for you as a guarantor?
Sorry.
Any references of any kind?
No.
Any money whatsoever?
No.
None?
No.
Okay, well, I'm delighted to offer you a Hindu mortgage.
A Hindu mortgage? What's that?
That means we offer you the facility to pay off your mortgage over several lifetimes.
I think the government are certainly responsible for keeping prices artificially high during the property boom.
Look, we have got to think outside of the box because there is absolutely no money left in the Irish economy.
Well, there is, of course, another great source of untapped wealth in Ireland in the form of Holy Communion money. That's a tough one.
It was said there not so long back that Brian Karen is getting paid more than Barack Obama, who's over one of the most powerful countries in the world. That money could be going somewhere more important, and it could save this country from economic crisis.
It's difficult for young people to understand. The money in the Irish economy was a lot like jade goody. First there was no jade, then there was loads of jade, and now there's no jade.
During the property boom, houses were glorified and glamorized in glossy newspapers and magazines.
Media and culture create a lot of the materialistic insecurities that people have.
People have to understand how they are manipulated by the industry and by the media.
Declan?
Yes?
What are you doing?
Oh, nothing.
Have you seen the property section?
Yes. I particularly remember headlines that I created in majestic Monaster Evan. Now, Monaster Evan never was and never will be majestic. Salins, I remember one headline reading, and I haven't written this, a river runs through it. No, it doesn't. A rather grubby canal runs through it. So the language was important because the language sold it to people. An interior decorated delight we know means falling apart. It's a hovel. Bijou, of course, means it's tiny but supposedly cute. Close to the M50 means it's in Tipperary.
All right, buddy. Looking for something nice here? Look at her. She's a beaut, isn't she? You do what you like. You can go in the back door. You can come in the front. You can poke around downstairs, upstairs, whatever you like. It's your own fucking business. The good news is she's available though, and there's loads more just like her around. How much? Don't fucking talk about money here, man. Just have a look around first, see what you think. You see that Georgian staircase, you'll fucking explode, you will. What age? What age? She's fucking 12 and a half years old, man. 12 and a half years old. You've never had a house like that before in your life. Have a look. Knock yourself out. Go on. What are you waiting for? Go on. Fucking prick.
You know, economists call it the wanting of waiting. You know, I want it now. I want the stainless steel fridge with the ice machine. I want it now. I don't want to wait for it. I want it all now.
This bollocks comes into the bio the other day, right? And he tells me he bought a Tudor-style home, all full of himself, like. But I'll tell you, it pays to read the small print, like, 'cause it turned out to be a Tudor-style home, you know, near Sellafield. After 4 years of living there, it had grown 3 extra bedrooms, right? And a big pair of fleshy tits on the side of the wall. And then he started trying to ride it, like. Can you imagine it, riding a house? I tell you, it'd be like banging your head against a brick wall, huh?
The Catholic Church in Ireland on the one hand exalted the virtues of poverty and on the other hand hoarded wealth. The biggest piece of real estate in any town was the church, draining every penny out of the community to build ostentatious tributes to God.
These people, comedic as it seems now, were our role models on a number of levels, but particularly in terms of the land they seem to accrue.
I lived in Dublin in a congregation in a parish where there were 4 priests and each one had their own house and each one had their own housekeeper.
The bishops, the nuns and the priests, they are the landlords today. And they're the guys that made the millions.
Will I go to heaven, Father?
Of course you will, Margaret. Of course you will. You left everything in the house to the church.
Yes, Father.
Sanctus Maria. Is this a supporting wall? Because I'd like to open up the space. In nomine Padre Urbitus Magnificorum Maria Sanctus. And yeah, she's gone. Bye, lads.
What's that there, Joe? She'll have to come down.
Father,
rotten.
that's not supporting. Just rip it out.
Rip her out.
The whole thing. Put the bed in the skip. Rip up the floor. And will you save the fireplace? Because I'd say it's worth a few.
I get a few bob for that.
Oh, jeez, yeah. No problem, Father. Listen, see you Tuesday.
Good luck to you, Father.
Thanks, lads.
In modern Ireland, the Catholic Church doesn't wield the same power it once had. Consumerism is filling the hole where religion used to be.
In the last 15 years, heaven came to earth in Ireland. So the Bijou residence that we all looked forward to in the afterlife, hey, it's just near the M50.
Look, we're realists, we're pragmatic, and we know that in all areas of Irish life, cutbacks have been made. Religion is no different. We've certainly decided to downgrade heaven for the time being.
It's a dreadful expense and drag on the exchequer, apparently. So we've relocated heaven to some of the empty housing estates in Navan, County Meath.
For many families, a generous mortgage offered them an escape from places where they didn't feel secure.
People want to feel safe. If you have a house and a roof over your head and a bed to lie in and a fire to warm yourself at, you feel secure.
I think the place where you're born and the house in which you grow up has a huge effect on sculpting your view of the world, your way of interacting with other people, and everything that comes thereafter.
I just want a nice, quiet estate for my children. I want them to be able to go outside and play in peace.
Now don't play too far.
We won't.
Don't forget we're cooking for you tonight.
I'll be washing up.
How come you two are so good to me?
Because we love you, Mom. Bye.
Bye.
Be careful.
How are you?
Darling, what happened?
I sure up your mom bag handicap. State you.
Give us €2 for a hostel.
Fucking gay bag.
Stick it up your hole.
An Irish house is like an Irish woman, because they think they're a lot better than they actually are, and they only want rich people to go inside them. Do you get me? Irish women better enjoy the fact that men want to ride them, because eventually they'll turn into deserted housing estates, visited occasionally by horny cowboys. Huh?
The Irish government benefited hugely from the housing boom and gave incentives to the Irish to pay the ever-increasing property prices.
The PAYE worker is kept in a nice little house in the commuter belt with a 350 grand mortgage. He ain't going anywhere.
People who are otherwise intelligent, or otherwise hard-working people, and they're screwed. They're living in nowhere land. They're living in bubble land out in the middle of Meath in a half-finished housing estate.
In a world where no one's buying houses, one man did.
Oh, gotta go, yeah. Hiya. Welcome to Monaster Evan. Congratulations on your new home. See ya.
Thanks. Oh yeah, when's everyone else moving in?
Day 38. And I still hadn't met any of my neighbours. I decided to introduce myself. Unfortunately, no one seemed to be home. Day 145. I explored the north side of the estate, and I made a little friend.
Hey there, little fella. You're my friend now, aren't you?
I grew so attached to Mousy. He meant so much to me. One morning, I woke up, and I'd rolled over him in my sleep. Mousy's death was the final straw. It was time to get the hell out of this place. Everywhere I ran looked the same. Dead end. After dead end. After dead end. Day 212. Escape is my only hope. I pray that someone sees my sign.
Over here! 3-bedroom! 3-bedroom for sale! Close to the M50! For sale!
And the government may actually end up owning, through this new NAMA, this new National Asset Management Agency, may end up owning all of these ghost estates. The government could be the biggest landlord in the state.
I think it's time, ministers, to tell the Irish people that we've decided to sell Cork. And we will be phasing in Kerry into that area over the next 12 years. And I believe we can sell Cork, even in the harsh economic climate. As the fellow says, as long as they don't speak, what?
With dark clouds hanging over its economy, can Ireland recover from the havoc wreaked by the property boom?
Under our government, the economy will recover, it'll get better, it'll improve, it'll get healthy, it'll get stronger, it'll be robust. It won't be sidelined, I'm sorry, but we will play on the field with the other economies. with confidence.
You go to the bank, get a mortgage, and buy a house. And rent it out. Buy another house. And rent it out. Buy another house. And rent it out. And in 10 long years, you'll have 10 houses. And sell them all. And move to Thailand. Make friends with the little Thai boy. And rent him out. Buy another boy. And rent him out. Buy another boy. Rent him out. Buy another boy.